Joining us now in a first on CNBC interview, Affirm Founder and CEO Max Levchin. Max, it's great to see you. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
I want to start with Powell's comments, if we could, and your reaction to what he spoke about in Jackson Hole. Essentially, rates could be higher for longer, talked a bit of a more restrictive policy, and inflation still being too high right now. How would that affect Affirm's business, higher rates for longer? I just want to get your take on that.
I think we are prepared for any eventuality. The events of the last 12 months, when the rates went up at an unprecedented clip, have certainly been plenty tumultuous and made our capital markets partners wonder how to price our products appropriately. Now that the Federal Reserve has accomplished some of its goals, not all of them, they're able to communicate much more clearly what the policy may be going forward, settles the markets down, makes our job a little bit easier, certainly makes our ability to execute on our mission much, much steadier.
And so you're prepared to operate in this higher rate environment?
Absolutely. We just showed that we can maintain the target range of revenue less transaction costs between 3 and 4% in this environment. Whether they go up a little bit more or stay where they are for a long time, we're quite prepared.
Yeah, that line item seemed to surprise analysts on the upside, that RLTC line item there. I want to ask about the health of the consumer. You saw a drop in delinquencies despite some of the fears out there about consumer credit. Can you walk us through that? And how's the consumer looking from your vantage point?
First of all, it's not an accident that the delinquencies went down. Credit, as I've always said, is job number one at Affirm. We're keeping an extremely attentive eye on our credit performance. So we will continue executing on everything we must do, growth and expansion included, but credit must remain within the target ranges for us. And so that said, consumer is actually doing all right. It's sort of the same story as it was last quarter. You can see that some categories are up a lot. Travel, ticketing are still performing super strongly in terms of consumer demand. Folks are trying to get out of town and pay their bills to do so. On the other hand, plenty of categories are suffering. Lifestyle and outdoor equipment is quite down year on year, and we're seeing that in consumer demand. But generally speaking, U.S. consumer is still buying things. They're still paying their bills. They're still quite solid.
Outdoor products, that's interesting. I also want to ask about the student loan moratorium. You talked about that as a potential headwind going into the rest of the year. How should investors think about people's ability to pay these loans when they now all of a sudden have to start repaying student loans as well?
Yeah, it's already entirely priced in, if you will, into our forecast. And much more importantly, it is long incorporated into our underwriting models. So we know what we have to do to make sure that that does not impede our growth and our profitability. But we do think that there'll be a modest percentage of folks that will be impacted within our consumer base.
The debit card got a lot of buzz on the analyst call. People were really focused on that. What's the value proposition there? When will it meaningfully start to add to the bottom line for Affirm?
It definitely started adding to our growth this year. We showed that our direct-to-consumer business, as we call it, accelerated sequentially quite a lot, and majority of that acceleration is from the card. I have my prop right here. I'm super proud of the card. It took a long time to get it right, but it is probably the first innovation in card products, credit, debit, or otherwise, in the last 30 or 40 years. It's a card that allows you to elegantly separate pay now and pay later, make it a very easy but a conscious decision for consumers, so you don't have to revolve on the things you don't want to revolve on. And so it's a great product. We're seeing excellent consumer uptake. People are loving it. I get lots and lots of inbounds from consumers telling me what other features they want to see. I'm very active on Twitter lately as people are telling me what they want to see in the card next. So just very excited to keep working on it.